business owner, you are juggling a lot of things. That's an understatement. These last few weeks, I have been traveling a lot with Jennifer Seiss in the Restart Collective. Together, we have been meeting face to face with a lot of business women who either are scaling to that next level and with women who have are sold or exited their business and they're getting ready to start their new project or their new leg of their business. We've also met with women who are still scaling too. And in that messy middle part, which can feel really uncomfortable in our business, we've all been there. And if you haven't yet, you will be, where we get started and then everything feels kind of messy. We need to get things strategized, organized, and also give you some self-care and relief because, again, you are your biggest asset in your business. So meeting with all these women over these last few weeks, I was reminded so deeply about why I created the Momentum Restart. And the Momentum Restart is there to do two powerful things. And I truly believe if you don't do them both, if you just try to do one, it's not going to be the best that it can be. Strategy and self-care. When you want that business growth, when you want your schedule to look different, when you want to feel different in your body, when you want your family life to look different, when you want to see your dream project come to life, whatever it is that you want, we have to have both. We have to have strategy and we have to have that self-care where we're taking care of the person behind the business. You are not a robot running a business. You are a real human being, and we need to have both, which is why I am so excited about today's interview with Becca Gonzalez and Mind Her Business. She will teach you today the basics and the advanced behind money mindset. If you are a business owner listening today and you are juggling working in your business, taking care of your clients with excellence so that you can be transforming lives, and you're also working on your business, making sure that you've got a profit on the bottom line and that you are investing in the next right thing that's going to get you to where you ultimately want to go, today's episode is for you. Becca is going to share with you all of the things that you can do to decrease the things that are holding you back and increase the things that move you forward. Thanks for being here today. How are you?
I'm so excited. I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to learn from you today. And before we dig into all things money, I want to get to know you first a little bit better. Can you share with us where you're from, your family, and what you love just outside of work too?
Yes, my husband and I got married 8 years ago, and we have two kids, Max and Millie. They are 6 and 4 now, which is insane to say out loud.
I know it goes so fast.
I know. We live in Charlotte, North Carolina, so I was born and raised here. And this year I started homeschooling my son. He went to kindergarten last year. First grade is at home with me. And yeah, we try to live a slow life, as slow as possible.
I love that.
Um, and yeah, we have a lot of land, so the kids just kind of run, and we really love it that way.
Oh, that sounds amazing. What a beautiful life. And yeah, kids need to run for
Mhm.
sure. They need it. And I know you help so many women in a huge area that we all need support in. You help women CEOs take control of their money, no matter how much they make or where they are in their business. How did you find yourself in this coaching realm?
This was a journey, a definite journey. So I mentioned my husband and I got married 8 years ago. I brought $90,000 of debt to our marriage, and he brought $0 of debt to our marriage. And then we quickly realized both of us grew up in totally different households as it related to how money was spent or saved or talked about or handled, all of those things. And I knew that that was probably going to be the one point of contention in our marriage. So we took a popular financial program. As you know, most couples give wedding gifts to one another. That was our wedding gift to one
Mhm.
another. So we took that course. We went all in, like 1,000,000% all in, dove into the deep end. And I became what my business partner calls like psycho with money. I was a lunatic. Every dollar went to debt. Every penny went to debt. There was not ever a time that I was not thinking about money, and not in a healthy way, not even remotely healthy. And we were newlyweds and we weren't having any fun. We weren't going on vacation. We weren't going out to eat. We weren't dating. Like, there was none of that. It was all about how much money can we make and how much debt can we pay off and how fast can we do it. And so my husband came home. I was already pregnant with my son. Um, my husband came home from work. He'd worked 14 hours, and I met him at the door, hands on my hips, and I yelled at him for spending $1 at work that night. And I know that sounds insane. It was a single dollar. He'd gone to the vending machine, swiped the card, and I checked the bank account like 16 times that day. So I knew exactly how much money he spent on his drink, and I was ready for him. And I can't describe the look on his face, but it was everything that I ever needed to know about what I was doing to our marriage, what I was doing to us just as people, what I had morphed into. And it was that single moment that I realized this cannot continue. We cannot continue like this. I have to change. The way that we handle money has to change. And so that weekend, we sat down together. We wrote out a plan that worked for our family, not for, millions of other people. It worked for them, but it did not work for us. Um, we started planning our next vacation. We started saving and investing again. It was just this kind of release of how fast can we do this? And it turned into like, how healthy can we do this in a way that we're on the same team and not dragging each other in different directions. So um it was that was a pivotal moment, and it wasn't it wasn't a switch. It took a lot of time. I still have days 8 years later where my brain takes me back to, oh gosh, you need to make more money. Oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I have to remind myself that we're not there anymore. You can relax. We are not having to panic over money. We're not desperate for things to change, and that baby steps add up over time to huge, huge goals. So I started teaching friends and family. They were asking us how we were doing it. Um, and they kind of sent friends and family. And then this was all for free. And I realized, oh my gosh, I could do this. This is fun and I love it. And it's helping other people, which is what I really want. And so I started a business out of it. And this was after I quit my teaching job. Like, teachers don't make any money anyway. But then I quit. I was making like less than any money.
Right.
So I started a business 3 years ago, and it turned into business owners because there's nobody talks about business finances online still.
Right. That's so true. That story is so powerful in so many ways. That is the ultimate adjust, don't quit story right there. Just how you said, instead of like to think how you can do it healthy, how you
Mm.
can reach these goals together, and how you made that shift to make your goals line up with what your values were in your marriage and your family and your life. And I love that you said too that you were doing this for free and you had so much fun doing it and realized you could start a business. That is it right there. Just pinpointing
That's it.
what lights you up, right? How did you know when that was the thing that you wanted to do?
Um, this is kind of, I don't know what people's faith is that are listening to this, but I was sitting on the couch and I was journaling. I'm not a journaler. Let's just start that first.
So
I'm
this
not
was
a
out
journaler.
of the ordinary journaling.
This
Yeah.
was not a normal occurrence. And this was 3 years ago. I was sitting on the couch and I just felt like I needed to write some things out, get them out of my head, get them on paper so I didn't have to carry them around. And I felt this overwhelming like flood of ideas and information, and they did not come from me. Like, it was not my brain giving me this information. And I fully believe that God was like, at this point, shoving me into this business. Like, you have tiptoed for how many years? You have people that are waiting on you. You have lives to change, and I need you to, like, let's get with it. So it was like the next week that I thought, okay, I'm just going to put it out there and we'll see what happens.
Wow. Oh, I love, I have chills all over. That's such a powerful story that you listened. to that nudge. You listen to
Mm.
that calling. And that's, you and I were joking together about this before we hopped on here today about how it's taken a few months for us to get together with our schedules, and then my computer restart this morning. And I'm so excited about what you're going to teach us, because I truly believe what you have to share with us today is going to change so many lives. And it is so powerful. And that is why sometimes when something is so powerful like that, it's going to change lives. There's a lot of detours in the road. And so I'm so glad we're here today. And I can't wait to learn more from you. And I know women listening today, they're on so many different stages of owning a business. And I love that you help women in every stage, because managing money is an important skill at every level. What have you seen to be the sticking point for most of your clients?
Well, I could probably go on for days, but I'm going to stick to a couple points. The first thing that we hear all the time, even after, they start learning to manage their money, is I have to have money first. I have to sell first. I need more money. I need more sales before I can start learning to manage my money. And that's just not true. We typically see that even if you think you cannot afford something, once all the numbers are laid out in front of you and you have a bird's eye view of everything, you have way more money than you think you do. It's being intentional on where it's going. How are you spending it? Is that where you want to spend it? If the answer is no, then we need to do some readjusting. And like you said earlier, align it with the goals and the values that you actually have. One of the first steps that you take when you come into our program is to write a list of values. Where do you want to spend your money? Like if you could just close your eyes, forget about everybody and everything, where do you want to spend your money? And typically these are things like travel. You want your dream house. You want to be able to say yes to your kids more often, things like that. But that's not where the money's going right now. And so when you are conscious and aware of where that money is going, then you can decide if that's where you want to continue spending it. And so if you don't know those numbers, then you don't have the data. I know you and Jennifer talk about data all the time. You
Yeah,
don't have the data, you don't have the information to be able to make clear decisions. And then
right.
your decisions start feeling like, ooh, should I do this? Can I do this? What's going to happen if I do or don't do this? The decisions you're making are from a place of guessing, and they don't feel good because you don't really know if it was a decision you should have made or not. So that would be the first thing I would say, is they feel like they just have to make more money first.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Absolutely. And when you're right, when you can see the data, I bet that's a really powerful moment with your clients to help them see you have more money than you realize. You have more to work with than you realize. When you see things on paper, it kind of takes the emotions away for a minute. We can make some strategic decisions
Mhm.
instead. Are
We
you
call
seeing?
that data over drama. So in
Yes.
Mind Her Business, it's like, girl, we have to work from a place of data over drama, because right now you're living in your emotions are driving your decisions. And that's not where we want to be. We want your data to drive your decisions. What are the numbers telling you? And then your emotions. The best part about, I think, females teaching money is we don't remove emotions from this. You want
Right.
your emotions. You just don't want the emotions to be driving the car. You want the emotions tied to the destination. Why do you want to be? Why do you want this financial goal? What is it going to do for you or your family or for other people? What is the point of reaching that goal? That's where you want your emotions anchored.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And I love too how you're saying to know what that money is going to do for you. It's not just a number on a piece of paper. And a lot of times I can see that when asking clients what their goal is in their business, they'll just throw out a number because this person makes that much or they think they should make this much. But you're saying to tie that to what that actually means for them in their life and what that's going to do for them. How do you see, how does that fuel long-term success in their mindset and in their money, being able to make that switch?
It keeps them in the game. So there will still be hard times. I also have a podcast and we talk a lot about last year. My last year was terrible in business because my personal life was terrible. There were, I mean, every appliance that could break broke last year. We replaced every single one of them. Our car broke down 2 times. We've had a forced renovation because of a leak. Those things are going to happen still. And when you know what the end goal is, it's easier for you to get back up and say, okay, I prepared for that. Yes. Did I have to use my entire emergency fund? Yes. Did it feel good? Not at all. But I still have the tools and what I need to be able to not only replenish that emergency fund, but keep moving forward to that goal that I've like attached my emotions to, or my like your why. I've heard
Yeah.
other people talk about it.
Yeah, that's so powerful too. And taking that data as looking at the data as a number and not
Mhm.
a reflection of who you are or your business. Ultimately, it's just a number, and then we can learn from it and move forward and make
Yes.
better decisions. And I love data over drama. That's the greatest slogan ever, because we all need that in all the things we do, for sure. What
Mhm.
about I've heard this a few times from clients too. What about when a spouse isn't on the same page with them, either in their business or what they're trying to do with their money mindset too? What would be your tips for them?
This is so hard to navigate, and I sympathize with people who are, especially women whose spouses are maybe not on board, or they just don't understand. A lot of times it's just from a place of not understanding. And so what we teach is you go first. You start with what you can. If the business is the only thing that you can control right now, that you can track, that you can steer the way that you want it steered, then start with the business. And you're going to have results, especially if you're managing your money and tracking your money. You will have results, and those will excite you. And you're going to tell your spouse about it. You're going to tell them, oh my gosh, look at what we were able to do. Look at how much money profit we have to deposit in the personal bank account this month. That stirs something most of the time in your spouse. And then they may tiptoe on board, but eventually we see them on board. We have 3 clients right now whose husbands were like, I don't think that this is a program that you should join. And they joined. And within a month, they were coming to the coaching call saying, oh my gosh, my husband was looking at the numbers and we were talking about this. And he was saying, oh, this is so cool. You can do that. So very quickly, they were on board when they were a hard pass, just 4 weeks ago. But
Mm-hmm.
it's because they see the data. When you
Yes.
see numbers, they don't lie to you. And whether it's where you want to be or not right now, that doesn't matter. What you can see is exactly where you're starting from. And I think men are just a little different. Typically, they need the data, they need the black and white numbers. When Me personally, I feel pulled to something. And if I feel pulled to it long enough, I'm not going to ignore it anymore. And so, um, I think it's just a matter of going first and really being diligent and not pushy like I was. Don't be like me, learn from my lessons. But just being really kind and compassionate and just giving them the information that they need when they need it. And I think that it makes a world of difference.
That's beautiful. And that you're right, that bridges the gap of the misunderstanding. When you go first and you're able to collect that data and then be able to share it in a way that your spouse can really understand.
Mhm.
And because it is hard to understand, even as a business owner, I had this conversation last week with a bunch of women. Friends, it's hard for friends to understand what you're doing as an entrepreneur. It's hard for your family. It's whoever it is in your circle, even though they love you and they want the best for you, it's really hard for them to understand. And so if you
Mhm.
have someone in that inner circle that is supporting you like this and doesn't understand, that data is, I can see, really bridging that gap. I love that. That's
Yeah.
really good tips. And on this podcast, we talk a lot about decreasing the things that hold us back and increasing the things that move us forward. So what would you say is the number one thing that women need to increase to move them forward in their relationship with money?
You need to increase the number of times you open your bank account. Like, this cannot be a bury your head in the sand and hope that the sales come in. And when the sales come in, then your problems are going to be solved. That's not how this works, because what you do with $100 today is what you will do with $10,000 when you have a high cash month. The habits have to be there. So if you can start the habits now, when you're not necessarily at a place financially where you want to be, or maybe your sales aren't as high as you want them to be, um, your habits are going to take the longest to change. So if you can start opening your bank account and just getting comfortable with seeing the numbers, whether you like them or not, that
Yeah.
is the number one tip. Like, just open your bank account. Open it every day if you have to. Don't stay in there and don't wallow and don't, like self-sabotage. We're just looking at the numbers and like, okay, well, now I know today that if I go to Starbucks or if I go out to eat with my friend or whatever, I know what I'm working with because I've looked at my bank account today. Um, it's really hard. We hear a lot of women who are like, I'm just afraid to open the bank account. So I'm just like, ooh, I got paid yesterday. So I think money's there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not do that anymore.
Yep. Yep. That is so
No more.
good. So good. You're right. And what we avoid doesn't go away. It actually becomes bigger. And so when we
Mhm.
face it head on, and I love that you said, now we know. I think everyone should write that on a post-it on their computer. Whenever you open it up, now you know. And now you can make decisions based off of that. That's brilliant. I love that. That's so good to hear in every area.
Most of the women that I know, and probably most of the women that you know, especially in business, we have kids, we have husbands, we have homes, we have dogs, we have responsibilities, we have, appointments that we have to go to. We have so much mental load as it is.
Yeah.
Your money does not have to create any more mental load for you. When you know the numbers, whether you like them or not, you release all of that space that has been taken up by what can I do? What if? I wonder how. Like, all of these swirling questions that you do not have answers for are taking up so much brain space, so much energy, so much of your time, whether you recognize it or not. You get so much of that back that you can give to your business, or you can give to your kids, you can give to your spouse, you could give to yourself. Like, imagine having all of that energy back to do the things that you actually want to do.
That's
That's what it does for
cool.
you.
Yes, it does. It does. It brings, I think you've just given collectively everyone listening a big sigh of relief and
Mm.
permission and space to be able to have that, which is what we're all about here, is having that dreamy, aligned life and business. And
Mhm.
facing the bank account, facing the data, and going in is part of that to get you there. You have given people such a gift today, for sure. And I know that they're going to want to learn more from you and hear your podcast and all the great things you have to teach. So tell us where people can find you.
We live on Instagram. Our handle is Mind Her Business Official. That's the name of our program also. But we like, come talk to us. We are open, we are transparent, we have an open door policy. Just come talk to us. Um, we have so many free resources for you. So you could get started today for free. You can make moves today for free if you know you are not in a position financially, but you don't have to live there.
That's so great. And that's so true. I know you and I have had a chance to talk a few times. You are so welcoming and so life-giving. So definitely go chat with Becca and get that conversation started. Stop avoiding it and just make it happen. And we want to get to know you a little bit better too. So I'm excited to hear what your answers are to these, with the concept of money mindset and how you are so brilliant with your money too. What is your favorite way to self-care?
Okay, this one's hard for me because I don't know that I'm actually, this is where I could use some work. I feel like when I hear this question, my first, like, my intuition goes to in the car with the windows rolled down and listening to like really good music. I just feel really free and calm and peaceful. Um, of course, when my kids are not in the car, that's not very calm and peaceful,
Right?
but just being able to let go and sing if I want to sing or dance if I want to dance and just not worrying about anything, that honestly is the biggest form of self-care for me right now in this season of life.
And music is so powerful. It changes our
Mm.
mindset in just an instant. Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, are you a Starbucks girl? And if so, what's your
Yes.
favorite? Okay. Tell us
Yes.
we can still go to Starbucks, please.
You can still go to Starbucks. And oh, yes, we won't go down that rabbit hole, but you can do what you want to do financially, go after your financial goals and whatever the other thing is over here, right? We were going after debt and saving and investing. You
Yeah,
can do both at the same time. It does take some work, it does take some planning, but yes, I still go to Starbucks.
I love
I
it.
go to
What's your
Starbucks.
go-to order?
Mine is a brown sugar oat milk shaken espresso, and I actually really like them hot. They tell me that they make it differently when it's hot, but I don't care. Iced coffee is not a me thing. I need a warm, comforting cup of coffee that I can hold and that steams
Yes,
up my face a little bit.
full experience. Absolutely. I've never
Yes,
had that one hot, only cold. So I'm gonna have to try that.
it's
That
really
sounds
good.
amazing on this chilly fall day. I love that. And one more question for you. How do you create momentum or get motivated when you're just not feeling it?
Well, um, as a mom, sometimes you just don't have a choice. But I read this book probably about 10 years ago now called Eat That Frog.
Mm.
And it's just do the hardest thing first or do the thing that you've been putting off the most. Do it first, get it over with. And I kind of live by that. I don't love it still when I have to do it.
Yep.
But I have found that getting that one thing out of the way again is like mental release. And now I feel excited and creative and more energetic to do the things that are the rest of the things that are on the list or um, that I want to be able to do. The other thing for business specifically is I have a folder in my phone for like either testimonials or texts that people have sent me on not what I have done for them because it's not about me, but how their lives have changed and the things that they have been able to do. That always, always makes me get back in action because it reminds me of why I'm doing this. And I've seen how my life can change. And I want that for them. I want that for every woman on the face of the earth. And it just puts me back in action. It's like you can't stop. You have a mission, so you need to get back on mission and keep going.
Yes. Oh, that's such a good idea. I love that. And you're so right. When you see those lives change and in that moment, running a business can feel so lonely and isolating sometimes. And we need to be reminded that you have this ripple effect that is happening all around you and that you got to keep going, keep showing up.
Yes.
Thank you for being here and showing up and sharing with us today and giving us all this great insight. And I know it's going to cause a ripple effect here too. And we will make sure to be checking out what's the name of your podcast so everyone can
It's
find it.
rated R for revenue.
I love that so much. Rated R for revenue. So we're going to make sure head over there and listen, and we'll have all the links to these in our show notes as well. Thanks, Becca. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.